We're going to take you live now to Sydney, where the opposition leader Anthony Albanese is speaking.
Just over $1 billion. We've been saying for some time that telehealth is important, and it's critical that the government is on board for it. It's also of vital importance that we prioritise mental health issues, and I'm very pleased that the government is doing that. So we welcome the announcements, we support them, we'll back them in should any legislative change be required at some time in the future. I also wanted to comment on the issue of wages. It's very clear that a wage subsidy is vital if we're going to minimise the impact on individuals and businesses of this coronavirus crisis. It's very clear that what it would do is to provide certainty for business, but also certainty for people who are doing it tough. I also welcome the fact that the government has indicated that they're looking at ensuring that it's backdated for those people who've been laid off up to this point, because this has been a major issue that Labor, along with unions and employer organisations, have championed over recent days and indeed weeks. We argued that this was important. We argued that the government's measures that went through the Parliament didn't provide any incentive for people to be kept in work, and that's why we regarded them as inadequate. So we welcome this announcement of an impending announcement about wage subsidy. But we do say get on with it. The government resisted and said that this wasn't possible for a long period of time. It's very clear other countries around the world have similar mechanisms. That's why we haven't tried to be prescriptive. In all measures that we have put forward, we have been constructive. We have attempted to give the government the space to design their own mechanisms without trying to tell the government precisely, without the ability to cost things in Treasury and Finance precisely what they should do. The third item, though, is one that was agreed last Monday, and it is incomprehensible to me why it hasn't been fixed already. Last Monday I met with Scott Morrison and Josh Frydenberg. I proposed a range of changes which were adopted by the government with government amendments in the Senate that subsequently passed the House. One of those major points was on two-income families where one person loses their job, where currently the cut-off for support would be $48,000. What we proposed is to lift the tapering off point from $26,000 up to $52,000, which means that people would be able to get some income support as long as the breadwinner earned a little bit over $70,000 or under, making a major difference to families in our suburbs where two people are working, one part-time, typically with kids, whether the father or the mother are looking after the kids at home for a proportion of the week. We identified this as a major gap in the package, and it was agreed by the government, and the changes were made to the legislation to allow the minister to make those changes. The government subsequently has sent mixed messages saying that there wasn't an agreement there. I'd say to the government, get on with it, put these changes in place, because the longer there's uncertainty, the more the anxiety that's there from people who have suffered in this circumstance. There's a lot of families where the casual worker has missed out on their job and where they're really struggling to know how they'll pay their mortgage and other bills.